Ready? Play.
So, coming on Friday is the clash in Marrakech between Alexandre Müller and Kamil Majchrzak. How did I do with my Polish pronunciation?
I'm not gonna judge. It's definitely a tough surname. Honestly, even for me. Like just the way that the letters are constructed. It's not easy, but it should be something along the lines of Mike Shuck.
I spoke to him today as well about I've described as a doping offense suspension that he had that was 13 months, I believe. The reason why I sort of described it that way rather than just a doping one was because I think it was a drink, wasn't it, that contained something. He also kind of just sort of today accepted it, and he's still pissed off, but he wanted to move on from that.
Yeah, it's a contaminated supplement. It's not a drink, but I mean, yeah, it's always been tough to find the right words because if you just say doping suspension, yeah, it's not quite like that. So I think anti-doping suspension or yeah, something like that. Basically, a contaminated supplement is what it was. The verdict was, of course, no significant fault or negligence, but he still got 13 months, which is more or less in line with most verdicts we've heard in these cases. And yeah, it's definitely an amazing feat how quickly he was able to come back. I remember that, of course, at the start of the 2024 season when he was basically starting from scratch and playing qualifying for ITF events. Everybody was thinking that yeah, like making it for the qualifying at the US Open would be amazing, but like for Australia is maybe the more real goal. It's probably going to take him like 2 years to get back to where he was, and I think it was more or less a year. He was playing US Open qualifying already, in fact coming pretty close to qualifying as well. So of course now there's like some extra stuff he needs to do in order to like make him, let's say, propel himself to the top 100 again, but definitely just to get back to that 120ish ranking in 10 months, that was something pretty special. So yeah, it went pretty much as well as anyone could have expected.
So he's going to be coming up against Alexandre Müller, who's very much been on our radar this year, particularly after his win over João Fonseca en route to the Rio Open final. When I spoke to Kamil today, he did still very much see himself as the underdog, which makes sense, right?
Sort of, but he's actually been like pretty popular, I think, among the either the market or whoever, or the players, let's say the gamblers this week. He's been very, very like positively priced, let's say, against the young, and now also just like a slight underdog, I think I saw against Miller. People have really caught on to the Majchrzak train this week. I mean, he hasn't dropped a set, sure, and it kind of makes sense because, like, if you, I was thinking about this when I learned that we were going to do this preview, but like, if 2 or 3 years ago you said, you put a random tennis fan and you told them that one of these players, Miller or Majchrzak, was going to be achieving the results of the Frenchman this year, I think like 75% would have voted for the poll. So of course,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, what Miller is doing this year is so unexpected. I do think he deserves to be the favorite, but it does look a lot more open than it would have at the start of the week. Finally, of course, Kamil gets a proper main tour chance since the comeback. I think he only had what Australian Open qualifying, which he got through, and then Indian Wells qualifying he got through, but he had to withdraw before making it into the main draw. So he's really like back now and obviously trying to get one of the biggest results of his career.
Camille's match was a bit weird, actually. I think I WhatsApped you saying he's being outclassed by De Jong, and that was at 5-3 pretty much. He lost his temper a bit, knuckled down, and then basically won 4, 10 of the next 12 games, I think, and really swung that one around. Of course, Muller came through in a very different manner, losing the first set, so we had to come from behind, but it was a really close three-set affair against the clay court specialist Hugo Delian of Bonn Open Challenger fame. Any final words on where this match might be won and lost? The Muller Kamil one?
I mean, Miller is definitely like a bit more grindy, a bit more reliable. He's also done super well on these courts. Like they're not that fast, but it's still like 400 altitude. I think he likes conditions like this. He's won like San Marino before as well. 2023, of course, was when Müller made the final at this event. Maybe he's a player who can just like, yeah, just be a little more consistent, gonna be more up to Kamil, who I think even more since he came back. I think like the disparity between his peak game and his floor has kind of gotten even stronger, like even larger. I think he really is like more of an attacking machine right now, Majchrzak. And yeah, I mean, he will really need to be in top shape to defeat someone who's like in this sort of form, this confidence. Of course, we've spoken, at length about Miller's like more proactive attitude this year and all the winning, just basically making him a different player. So I guess, yeah, I mean, the only real way to go against someone like that is probably to try to attack him, and maybe it will be enough, maybe it won't. I think Kamil, it's only his second quarterfinal on clay on the main tour, and the other was also like a few hundred altitude, like Geneva. So also someone who can definitely use these conditions. He's got that beautiful like shovel backhand, which, okay, beautiful is maybe a stretch, definitely unique, but it's such a good weapon, especially when the conditions are just a touch faster. So maybe, but the overall consistency and kind of how, yeah, Müller is just so relentless. That's gonna be tough to combat.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.